everybody, my name is Alexa Rubin and I'm always telling in the night a fairy tale, Saturdays at 5 o'clock. If you like it, then subscribe and send my channel. It's for free and it's a present for the children and for the adults who like, because if you watch a film, everybody can have the same pictures. But with a fairy tale, what I tell you, you have your own pictures and your own imagination, and it stays, this picture stays forever. And you create another world. At the moment, the world is a little bit crazy, or sometimes you have things and which is difficult. And when you create your own imagination, it's something against this difficult things. So it's very important that in the night you think only good. You can listen to this fairy tale and you can send it to friends who don't have anybody who tells them fairy tales. I come from Germany, so I try my best to say it in English, and I think you will understand it. Okay, so once upon a time there was a mitch. The mitch, you know, when there is a mitch in the room, you cannot sleep. And it goes zzz, and then when it stops, you open the eyes and you need to switch on the light, and it's horrible. I mean, everybody knows it. And you think always, oh no, where is it sitting? And mostly it hides behind a cupboard or anywhere. And it's normally nobody can sleep when there is a mitch. But the mitch, normally, it's not their fault because it's how they are. But this mitch was a very mean mitch. It said like, the life is so boring. And everybody is so stupid. And what is the life for? And it flew around. And then it saw once a day a mice with the little mice husband. And they were speaking and they were laughing and telling about each other that they stole a little bit of cheese. And then the little mice, she said like, oh, tonight we make a little mouse party and we invite all our friends and we can eat it all together. And then the little mice husband said, okay, we will do this. This is a good idea. And the mitch came and sit down on the mice and pinched her so much. The mice said, it's hurting. And the little husband said, what? Yes, you have to cool it, the little mouse said. And then the husband, he took a thing with a little bit water and cooled it. And he said, is it better now? And the little mouse said, no, it's hurting so much, you know. Tonight, I don't want to have anybody here. But the mitch, when she saw it, she was laughing. And she said like, this stupid mice, they want to do a party. They are so boring. They are so boring that who would like to go to this party? And they were so happy. Why to be happy? It's boring. Everything is boring. And I like nothing and nobody. Why they wanted to invite other mice? This makes no sense. They are so stupid. And the mitch flew more. It was a very mean mitch. Then he flew to the forest, and normally she did not even want to fly because it was also the best was to rest, and she did not like anything, and she thought, these trees here, they are so not necessary and they are green. I mean, I hate green, the mitch thought. And then she was flying down. She was a little bit hungry. And she thought, like, who can I use now? And she saw the fox there, waiting in front of a little hole because he was waiting for his dinner, which wanted to come out of the hole. He was waiting for hours and he was so excited. He was putting his ears up, listening very carefully. And he had to feed his little children. So he was waiting. But the little mitch thought, this fox, look at him. How boring can it be to wait here hours and hours? And she goes, and she was sitting down on the cheek of the fox. And she put her needle in the cheek. And the fox, when he felt it, he jumped up And all this waiting was for nothing because the food went back in the hole and he had nothing to eat in the night. And he was like, this Mitch, it was hurting me. And now I cannot feed my babies. But the Mitch was laughing. Ha ha ha! Who needs babies from a fox? Who needs this? It is so boring. And this fox is so boring. And they are all so boring. This mice, how stupid they are. I cannot believe it. And I cannot love it. She was so full. And she was sitting there on the grass. And she was seeing there in the grass 2 ducks. And the ducks were there speaking and laughing. It was so nice. Gawk, gawk, gawk. Today in the water. And the one duck was washing herself and swimming around. And the other duck was saying, you have so nice feathers. I like it so much. And the Mitch thought, this I cannot hear. It's horrible. They are like so much in love. For what is this? I would never be like this. It's horrible. I cannot even see it. I go sick. And she went far away with this horrible tone. And she said, oh my God, is this all too stupid? And the animals are stupid. I hate the trees. I hate everything. So she was flying and flying and flying. But she was not really flying. She was sailing in the wind because she was too lazy to fly. Then suddenly she went to the desert. And she came to the desert and she said, oh my God, it's so hot here. But then she pinched 1 or 2 or 3 little children. They were itching so much. They could not sleep all night. And she said, this is the only funny thing. But okay, now I was enjoying this, but now it's really boring. It's so boring here. And this is all horrible and boring. And then she went there next to a bird and she thought, maybe it's exciting. Maybe the bird wants to eat me and maybe it's more interesting. And she said, little bird, I'm here. I'm a Mitch. Don't you know? And the bird said, yes, I heard from my friend that you are a very evil, horrible Mitch, and I'm really not interested. You will not be my food. You are not even for this. And the bird was flying away. And the Mitch said, what a boring life. It's so boring. And she flew in the desert. And there were beautiful big elephants with the little babies. And the elephants, they were caring so much about the little elephant babies. And there was a huge, huge elephant bull. And he was very old and very wise. And he was protecting all his family. The Mitch was sitting on the elephant and she said, I cannot even pinch you. What horrible, horrible skin you have. And the elephant was looking and said, hey, Mitch, go away from me. Yes, I'm very protected. And look, it's beautiful. I have a beautiful gray coat. The Mitch said, this is so useless. You are so boring and all these elephants. It's like, and the elephant said, no, this is not boring. We have the desert. There are so many flowers. When it rains, you cannot believe it. How much blooming there is. There are the best flowers, what you cannot believe. Yellow and blue and red. And in the night, when you see the heaven, they are so bright, million and trillion and billion stars, and the moon is like you can touch him. The Mitch said, what is this for boring? I cannot believe it. And the elephant said, why you speak like this? The world is beautiful. You have to open the eyes. You have to see the flowers. You have to smell the desert. And the Mitch said, I don't want to hear you anymore. Let's find a good place where I can use you a little bit. And the Mitch went to the eye. The elephant could not see her really, but the skin was very thin. And the elephant was there, and the Mitch said, I'm here. I sleep a little bit. Maybe I drink a little bit and then I go. But then she saw that the elephant was going to the water because there was a little elephant baby, and it went more close and more close and more close to this little lake, and it was dangerous because it could not swim and it was too small. And in the last second, the elephant grabbed the leg and pulled the little elephant back. But because the little elephant was so surprised that it put his nose, they have this long nose, I don't know the word, it put it in the eyes of the elephant and clutch. The Mitch, who nearly wanted to pinch the elephant on the eye, went down, boom, dead on the floor. But the elephant did not even think about the Mitch. And could you believe nobody was thinking about the Mitch? And the Mitch was on the floor and nobody did care, because the Mitch had such a boring life that it was absolutely not interesting if the Mitch existed or not. So this was my story. Maybe sometimes you are also surrounded by a Mitch and then don't even care and walk your way and look how beautiful the world is. Because the world is how you see it. If you see it boring, it's boring. If you see it interesting and beautiful, it's beautiful. So with good thoughts, you go in bed now and sleep very well. I was telling always these stories to my children. They are adult now. And now I give them to you for free, that you enjoy and have a nice sleep. Good night, your Alexa Rubin. Bye-bye.